Hi everyone, welcome to the Pininfarina headquarters. You're now watching the digital world premiere of the new Pininfarina virtual concept car. I'm Patrick Battista and we got some exciting show lined up in this beautiful venue in Cambiano. But first of all, let me introduce you Mr. Paolo Pininfarina.
Hello everyone and welcome to Pininfarina. We are just 20-minute drive from Torino. We are in the so-called automotive district, where all the main car designers and coach builders were born. Here, we will showcase Pininfarina's vision of the future of mobility and beyond mobility.
Mr. Pininfarina, could you please explain the role of show cars in the history of your company?
Pininfarina has always looked to the future, using show cars to chart the direction. Now the time has come for the first virtual concept car, developed completely virtually. I hope you are as excited as I am to see this amazing project that we are introducing to the world today.
Thank you, Mr. Pininfarina. I'd love to understand more about the concept cars as an innovation tool. Mr. Angori, may you help us?
In fact, in Pininfarina history, show cars or concept cars have always been not only about studying innovation, but rather as labs to introduce new concepts, new technologies, to test out the future really and imagine what the future would be. It started long ago. We have quite a number of different examples of aerodynamic solutions that were key to the future of design. And in particular, for instance, one of the very last that we have designed was Synthesis in 2008. And now, with this virtual concept car that has been developed using virtual reality and other very advanced technologies, we are testing out the future of experience design with artificial intelligence, the 5G, and some other key digital technologies to imagine the future of the vehicles.
Thank you, Mr. Angori. Marco, did you develop all of this just virtually?
We have heavily leveraged our virtual lab in this project. The virtual lab is a unique asset based on a structured and tested process capable of bringing various benefits to clients and designers. The Pininfarina Virtual Lab has proven its full efficiency, especially during the month of the pandemic, where we have signed off many complete production cars, from first sketch to Class A data ready to the production tools. We not only use augmented reality and virtual reality, but we have embraced the new mixed reality technology that lets you see the virtual car in front of you, blending in seamlessly with real people and real cars physically around you. It now also allows us to work very efficiently with our Shanghai design team as a unique, unified team.
The virtual show car showcases our capability to work as a unique team, selecting the best human resources from both teams, the ones in headquarters in Italy and my team in Shanghai. While developing projects for our clients in China, we can leverage a global-wide team, each time selecting exactly the specific skills required.
Virtual reality allowed us to test the very initial phase of the design. In this way, we can share with the client every single phase of the design process, and we are able to improve every development in the different steps. Virtual reality allowed us to enhance the quality, really bring out the talent of our design, and we can explore different scenarios very quickly.
The first look at a virtual concept car shows a quite unusual shape. Would you tell us the reason behind this unconventional design?
Up until recently, the car was a symbol of social freedom, almost a rite of passage for young adults. The pleasure connected with traveling is being erased. Italians, though, have always loved traveling around their beautiful country. And thinking back to the post-war years, the car gave them the freedom to really enjoy life on the move. It was a time of discovery, of freedom, and the car enabled that. It was a chance to godere la vita. It was the start of the Dolce Vita. It was the rest of the world that was envious. We want this car to return those pleasures. We want people to enjoy the journey again, despite the traffic queues, the delays, and frustrations of modern driving. We want a group of people to be able to drive together and really enjoy the journey, where the journey itself becomes as much pleasure as the place they're actually driving to, where people have the feeling that they can all sit together and share the experiences along the journey, yet have their feeling of privacy at the same time.
I see no doors on the side of the car. How do you actually get in?
The emotional acceptance, which allows people to feel experiences, is a cerebral function where the neurons assume a roughly pentagonal form. The occupants are positioned also in pentagon in the car, and that is what creates the narrow cabin in the front and the wide body further back. That gives us the space in the center for people to move around in the car and to convene together inside the car when desired. They use the side of the car as backrest when they want to, so there is no side entry. This also makes the car stiffer and lighter.
So if you want to be isolated or quiet and disconnected from what's around you, and also from the other passengers, there's a section behind, iconic vertical split in the car where you're completely cut off. The seats in that area were designed together with Poltrona Frau to ensure maximum relax mode and to allow you to stretch out and doze off with no light or other disturbances.
The seats of the virtual concept car are very peculiar. They seem to be inspired by a chaise longue, a typical piece of furniture design that we usually find in a living room. How these will change the way we experience the interiors of the car.
We have developed for this concept a chaise longue, which is the perfect balance between geometry and comfort. This will completely change the car interiors as of today, because also the needs will change. The seat can be easily transformed from a chaise longue to a bench, depending on the moment of the travel, and using compressed air technology. We are suggesting also the use of sustainable materials, lightweight leather and sustainable tanned leather, which perfectly integrates into the concept conceived by Pininfarina.
Together with Poltrona Frau, we carefully selected the seat materials so that we could maintain the purity of the approach to every part of the design of the car, but also to ensure that with the seats in particular, there was a real richness in that purity. On the rear of the driver's seat, the micro losangatura strips are invisibly stitched to a specially formed foam to give an ultra-precise technical effect not normally associated with leather.
How can we experience the car when it is in its rest mode?
When the car is in rest mode, the whole interior becomes a social space where people can sit in any position. It's just like sitting around the table in a cafe or like a picnic setup, where the side of the interior becomes the backrest for people.
So let's see the kind of experiences that designers would have as they head off on a virtual journey.
To make it the easiest vehicle to ever be loaded and so easy to get in that you hardly have to bow your head. That is why the closed rear section opens upwards and forwards. You roll the cases along the street surface, which actually extends inside the car. and hardly have to lift it into the storage space. Keep walking, straight ahead, and you find yourself already at your seat. There's no sliding in the middle. In fact, each passenger had their own business class legroom. The choice of rear entry makes this possible, together with what we call the Neuron seating arrangement. Floor projection tells them to move to center or rear as the central door slides open and the roof extends upwards and forwards.
It looks more like a domestic environment than a car.
All the various design departments in Pininfarina that work together on this project to reimagine spaces, to deliver a completely new experience. That's been the target for many car companies, but we can actually do it because no one else has such a wide range of design departments all under one roof. Our architecture team were particularly inspirational.
We've been working with Kevin and his team in order to redefine the interior of the VCC. And as architects, we work in the interior space using some standards such as the well-being standard or parametric tools or modular. This in order to somehow give a more home and cozy feeling to the overall environment of the space instead of a ordinary car. Pininfarina has had this architectural team since many years now, but just recently we moved under one roof.
Another major innovation was the setting up of our experienced design team inside Pininfarina in the last few years. And this brings a completely new way of looking at design. The key is to think about the feelings we want people to have when they encounter the design. But to do this, you have to dive into this before you actually start the design process. A new approach was necessary. And the use of data is essential to guide the safe use of the car. And then to allow these experiences to actually happen.
So if I understood it correctly, we will soon be able to have a completely different experience while driving our cars.
So the main idea is to visualize navigation and advanced driver's assistance systems in true augmented reality, and it makes a lot of difference versus the classical conventional heads-up displays and in-vehicle infotainment systems, because if we align the content in the real world with the true augmented reality, meaning that the distance to virtual objects is the same where real objects are located, plus the software is rendering the content seamlessly with no delays, it makes more impact on the safety because there is less blind flight time, and people are feeling this navigation as more and ADAS as more natural way of seeing the information, this supplementary information.
The vehicle is completely autonomous, so actually needs no driver. But the control of a powerful vehicle is something deeply ingrained in our psyche. And that's also why we have the same kind of feelings when we are able to control any form of transport, be it a bicycle or a horse, for instance. So sometimes it's really great experience to pilot and control a vehicle. There are actually three main areas in the vehicle, but in autonomous mode, the driver faces the other 4 passengers, but there's always enough distance between them to give everyone the feeling of having their own private cocoon. So with the front passengers wide apart, there is a central plaza, which gives the feeling of like space. And then the 2 rear passengers are slightly closer together so that they have like direct eye contact with the driver when he is, well, not driving. So that way, there is a community feeling, and everything that happens in the motion of the vehicle is actually shared. The neuron floor patterns, front and rear, are all the same color, providing a subconscious connection, holding all the occupants to a shared experience. When someone wants to take over the physical control of the vehicle, the floor patterns show 2 different colors and intensities, subconsciously confirming that there are now 2 different traveling experiences going on inside the vehicle. The driver experience is now different to everyone else's.
So, if I understood it well, the car becomes a sort of cocoon that isolates passengers from the external environment. How do they really enjoy the surrounding in this case?
No. It's also really important that they can all experience what's going on around all the car. When you are in a moving car, you can only see or experience what is directly past you, and the driver can never really appreciate anything of the scenery because he normally has to fully concentrate on the driving.
It's very smart and interesting to see how your technology will definitely improve the safety of our journeys. But I also heard that actually the virtual concept car will be also focused on entertainment while moving. So I would love to ask you how the Wayray technology is going to contribute in this regard.
So there'll be more use cases once the car is autonomous. For the driver and for passengers, the content can be different from just navigation and ADAS. We can visualize lots of applications, lots of rich points of interest through the windshield and also through the side windows. The side windows thing can be also used today in taxis, in trains. So we are also pioneering here to demonstrate the content through the side windows of the transportation.
The outside world is relied onto the side glass, as the sensor in the car knowing which direction I'm looking and the real-time data processes that. Touching the side screen allows me to question what is around me and learn about it. I can tell the others about it by throwing that information to anyone else in the car as their side glass then light up. The vehicle will then suggest other information which people can reject or accept regarding the area you are traveling through. You might travel the same route often, but never know what wonders you are speeding past.
The vehicle is always like sensing what is around it, and part of that are the functions of the local buildings. So for instance, thanks to real-time data processing and interpretation, that car will know that it is approaching an industrial area, and this is then relayed through the color change in the interior. Linda is obviously not too impressed. So as she raises her hand to the side glass, she's informed about the factory she's passing, but also about other locations that she cannot physically see.
Piacenza has an amazing theatre, the Teatro Municipale, and such an elegant facade on the Palazzo Comunale in the Piazza Cavalli. But how would you ever know that if all you cared about was the quickest way to head south?
The pleasure comes from discoveries along the route. Dad, are we nearly there? Should be something that no one ever needs to say in this car.
As I tell the others about my discovery, the internal colors change accordingly.
It's another unexpected, pleasurable experience which might even cause a change in journey plan. The car is always connected to all the websites, the tourism websites, through each area that it travels. It's another way to really enjoy the journey as you're moving and enrich your knowledge as you move.
Rustom, surely you cannot enjoy the journey while the car is static.
You know, with all the onboard systems, traffic queues are no longer a surprise. So alternate routes can easily be taken, and often the quickest route is actually the queue, so what you're in. That's where the discovery of something interesting around us could take us off on a discovery drive.
As the route becomes interesting again, Rustam might decide he wants to take control again. And the light on the back of his seat informs everyone how much he is actually doing the driving and how much the car is assisting him.
I was expecting to see an interior full of big screens. Where did you put them?
Well, up until now, the main way of a vehicle and its occupants of communicating with each other, apart from buttons, is of course screens. But as we look forward though, we're already talking about screen detox, the constant awareness of visual information around a driver can often cause distractions. And it's artificial intelligence which is now learning what information a driver really needs and then only showing what's actually relevant at that particular time.
How does the driver actually get his essential information?
In his central position, he has perfect vision to his left and his right of the road. But you will notice that the bed line is broken right in front of the driver. And there is a very thin strip which shows the most important information, which he can see without taking his eyes off the road, because it is in the perfect ergonomic position. But below there is a glass window with extra information that can be displayed as a projection. It's actually a head-down display, but still in the right ergonomic position. So if we had, for instance, physical screens everywhere, it would make it hard to have the absolute space flexibility we want. So Wayray's side screens are ideal for passenger information, where essentially the whole glass area becomes one giant screen. But we have been looking at many different languages a vehicle can use to communicate.
What are the main takeaways from the Wear is unique AR HUD technology?
Yeah, so the main idea is that holography is the only way to create true augmented reality content in the transportation. And currently Wear is the only company who is capable of doing that, having competences in both hardware, deep tech technology and software. So we were the first in the industry to integrate all levels of technology into one user experience. And this set of technologies enables a huge market that will be used by either ride-hailing companies or OEMs and maybe elsewhere.
Could you please explain how smart surface solutions will increase the comfort and safety?
The morphing surface follows the current market trend with a highly decorative, seamless surface and combining at the same time an innovative and intuitive functionality, which is less distractive. For example, control elements like buttons could appear out of nowhere from a completely flat surface as soon as the hand is recognized by the proximity sensor. The HMI will reveal whenever it's demanded. When pushing a button, the specific haptic feedback could confirm the function in order to create a similar driver experience like pushing a conventional mechanical button. The input device can disappear quickly after removing the hand. In combination with innovative translucent lighting concepts realized by LEDs or display, the variety of possible use cases is nearly endless.
Is that not the worry that people might feel a little bit claustrophobic?
No, because above and besides them, the chromatic glass panels, the strips of light pass through, and the glass surfaces can be adjusted to control the passage of light throughout the entire vehicle.
Could you please explain how smart glass solutions will change our experience within the interiors of the car?
So intelligent gas control gives the passenger the opportunity to decide by themselves if they want to enjoy the landscape by switching to transparent mode, to get shading from sunlight, or to enjoy the privacy by switching the glass to opaque mode. By replacing sun blinds, roller blinds, curtains, the interior gets a clean appearance and no mechanical moving parts generate noise and wear and tear over time. There are so many implications for intelligent glass, ranging from panorama roofs, side windows, window sun blinds, and car separators for limousines. Also advanced functionalities like touch or gesture control, as well as ambient and reading lights can be integrated into the glass. It gives the user and the designer the freedom to change the experience of the complete vehicle within milliseconds by the push of a button.
I'm wondering what is below the central plaza.
With an electric vehicle, you have the chance to set up a totally new architecture. The BETS rolling chassis is a very efficient solution and an enabler for setting up new electric vehicles very fast, with reduced complexity and high quality, thanks to its scalable and modular design. The rolling chassis contains modular front and rear chassis modules and a modular battery pack. For the underbody, you easily can at least choose an aluminum frame or a steel underbody construction. Both variants contain the necessary hardpoints and predefined connecting points for the upper body, which are taken by Pininfarina as basis to shape the vehicle design. With its low construction, the BETS rolling chassis allows Pininfarina to have a wide space inside the vehicle and therefore permitting the design of a central plaza while keeping a relatively low height of the complete vehicle. The flexibility of the rolling chassis enabled the Pininfarina designers to conceive a very roomy interior with a quite sporty exterior.
So with no side doors, we can create a strong, lightweight and really slim side section on the car. So it's this neuron seating together with the lack of doors on the side that allows us for an unexpected technical advantage. So if you look at the car from above, you actually have a 3-layered section. So, there's the inner seating compartment, the outer skin, and in between we can actually have like an air passage that runs all the way through to optimize aerodynamics.
Duct section smoothly decrease their area. E-shape generates an acceleration of the airflow passing through them. The high-speed jet that exits at the rear of the car reduce the wake dimension, improving aerodynamic performance, helping reduce drag and improving the car's efficiency. The shape of the car is driven by technical concepts and the experiences we want the occupant to feel. Everything is where it is for a reason, which has always been the Pininfarina approach of using innovation to humanize technology and to create a pure and elegant design. The expertise of our own wind tunnel and CFD simulation were used to guide and support our ideas.
How does the car steer?
A real steering wheel makes sense when there's a mechanical connection to the wheels, but mostly these days they're electronically connected, giving the driver only the feeling that his hands are directly turning the wheels. We wanted to explore other ways where the driver can more intensely feel that his whole body is experiencing connection between the car and its surroundings. We also wanted to make it clear to the driver exactly how much he is guiding the car and how much is under autonomous control. So we used a system where you physically have to reach out and pull the controls towards you. That's a similar motion, similar to what you might do in a training gym, where your whole upper body feels you're connected to the car. And once you have the steering oars in position, you can turn them, you can twist them, and raise them to create very natural movements that mimic the motion of the car as its weight distribution changes. They're subtle movements, but they're natural ones. And the autonomous systems are constantly checking the speed, the direction of the car, and will quietly intervene if you send the car off into a dangerous situation by mistake. You'll also see that there's no pedals, as the oars also they use to accelerate and to brake. As the car accelerates, weight moves rearwards, and when it then brakes, it makes sense to harness that movement experience by pushing the oars forward when braking and pulling them back to accelerate. So if you get it all wrong, the car will sort it out and avoid any possible dangers in time. As with all Pininfarina's designs, purity, elegance and innovations are the foundations for the design of this virtual concept car. But this time, we took the challenge of trying to create something sophisticatedly impressive, using really simple forms. Pure but never basic, and that's actually a lot harder than it sounds, because as you know, the whole concept was based on the two U's, the U at the front, the U at the rear, and those basic forms designate the way the vehicle is used by the passengers. And okay, harder than it sounds, but of course we've had lots of experience designing the iconic vehicles of our past.